Hello, Namaskar. I am Mahendra P Singh. I have created an YouTube channel today for civil services aspirants. The students who are preparing for civil services examinations face many challenges. They try to get information from different sources in newspapers. There is an exhaustive search on their part. For a small news, you have to go through many pages. Viewing this problem faced by the civil services aspirants, I have launched this channel and I shall be very delighted to be of any help to you. I shall try to cull and curate the news items for your specific requirements, and that is why I am here. I shall make improvements from time to time, and as you will suggest me through your messages and comments, I shall make my journey more beneficial for you. Now let us begin. SEO meeting has just concluded in Tianjin. Tianjin is a city in China. It is a major city after Shanghai. SEO was formerly known as Shanghai 5. In 1996, it was established with 5 members: China, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Russia, and Tajikistan. Now, Shanghai Cooperation Organization was established in 2001. It is an Eurasian political, economic, and international security organization. It started with 6 members: China, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Russia, Tajikistan, and Uzbekistan. In 2017, India and Pakistan joined this grouping. In 2023, Iran became a member of SCO. 2024, Belarus joined SCO. There are 10 members in all and 14 dialogue partners: Sri Lanka, Turkey, Cambodia, Azerbaijan, Nepal, Armenia, Egypt, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Kuwait, Myanmar, the Maldives, and UAE. After summits, the member countries issue a joint declaration. In this summit also, when it concluded, a joint declaration was signed and adopted by all members. What were the key points in the joint declaration? The first was they opposed unilateral coercive measures by the US governments by way of tariffs. US government has been in a way harassing economies throughout the world. The second was terrorism, extremism, and separatism in all forms and manifestations was condemned by SEO members. But here, a point of disagreement that can be felt in India is similarity between terrorist attacks that happened in Pahalgam and those in Jafar Express in Balochistan by Balochistan Liberation Armies, condemning them on a par can be a problem. Cross-border movement of terrorists was also condemned with one voice. Xi Jinping criticized bullying behavior in the world order by the US and called upon members to adhere to fairness and justice and come out of Cold War mentality that has disadvantaged China from its inception, from its beginning. Strengthening the South, global South was also stressed by the joint declaration. It was also realized that the world was going through a fluid and chaotic global uncertainties. SEO Plus in SEO Plus meeting, Xi Jinping also stressed upon GGI Global Governance Initiative. There should be equality, socio-economic and political spheres of the world. There should be rules-based international world order. Multilateralism should be practiced by the members. It means adherence to the bloc politics is at this stage of the world not right. It was one of the key points. People-centric approach and taking real actions by the SEO members was also a key highlight. One change was also noted in the joint declaration, and that was the status change of its members. The members who were called dialogue partners or observers will now be called single observers. Laos was included into it. Now there are, as I have already told you, 10 members and 17 partners, and total strength of SEO stands at 27. SEO joint declaration committed to the establishment of SEO Development Bank, which is an ambitious plan. On Israel, SEO laid a particular stress on resolution and settlement of Palestinian issue and bring peace to West Asia. The humanitarian crisis that Gaza has been witnessing after the pounding of Gaza by Israel, it was acutely felt by the members, and has been mentioned in the joint declaration. US strike on Iran's nuclear facilities were also condemned, and it was called upon the members and supporters that the sanctions on Iran's nuclear program must be lifted. On Afghanistan, the members stressed to enhance acceptability of Taliban regime. There should not be distancing from this regime because Taliban regime is a reality. On Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, a pilot project launched by China, all members supported BRI, excluding India. India had reservations because it impinges on territorial sovereignty of countries. Other highlight in the joint declaration is 12 billion yuan have been set out for loan to the members. Here, one point to be noted is that in spite of economic stress China is going through, it is not showing that it is any in any way financially and economically taking a back seat. It is showing robustness in its commitments, and it showed in SEO meeting as well. It also supported the UNGA resolution to stop glorification of Nazism, neo-Nazism leading to racism, xenophobia, and intolerance. The members also welcomed this move from UNGA, United Nations General Assembly. Now we come to India's strategic autonomy. Related to this topic is India's strategic autonomy. As you all know, from Nehru's time of non-alignment to Modi's time of multilateralism and multi-alignments, India has preserved freedom of action. A middle path. India has chosen a middle path between rigid politics, bloc politics, and passive disengagement. It is a member of Quad. It is a member of the BRICS. BRICS, as is abhorred by the West and USA, and Quad is a grouping of the West and America. India is part of both the blocks. It is called multi-alignment. It demands aligning closely with the West instead of closely with the West as well as Russia and China. There is no hesitation, there is no otherliness in its dealings with countries, and that is multi alignment. Now, come to the second topic of the news. As you know, GST Council's 56th meeting concluded with a declaration that 12% and 28% tax slabs in the GST regime will be stricken off, and only 5% and 18% will remain in place. The motive behind this on part of the government is simplification, predictability, and fairness in indirect tax regime. It is not just to fix problems, but also unlock India's growth potentials. So many essential items of general use for the people will become cheaper after these rate cuts in the GST. Essentials. Uh, Real estate will also have a boost. Cement and construction materials will be cheaper. Life-saving drugs and critical medical devices will witness a cut from 5 to 0. I mean, nil. Labor-intensive industries will also breathe freely because of these cuts. Textiles, handicrafts, shoes, toys require a lot of workforce, especially the middle class and the low income group are engaged in these activities. They will have greater economic soundness to contribute to the overall growth of the country. Automobile sector will also witness a sound upsurge because when the vehicles were falling under 28% GST, and now they will fall in 18% GST. Export heavy sectors, handicrafts, leather, and engineering goods, driven by MSME, will also benefit. GST rate slab change have evoked lukewarm or mixed response across many sectors. Automakers are jubilant. They have received it with open arms. Airlines has some problems because GST on non-economic seats is higher. If small entrepreneurs feel frightened of labor cost hikes, there will be labor cost hike according to the, because the money that will flow to the hands of the people uh, will give them a better bargaining power, and the wages will increase. That is why the small entrepreneurs have fear. Textile industry is also disappointed because the 18% duty to be charged on garments priced above 2,500 rupees. Auto manufacturers, as I already have said, medicines would be cheaper and affordable. Renewable energy equipments will be charged from 12 to 5%. Insurance sector will also get cheaper. Inverted duty will also be done away with and given relief to the manufacturers. Healthcare will become cheaper. It will go from 18% to 5%. Personal care from 18 to 12 to 5%. Education from 5 to 0%. Sin goods. Remember the name sin goods. It means the goods like tobacco, alcohol, or which are health hazard for the general public. And super luxury items will be costlier because it will attract 40% GST. White goods, it means refrigerators, televisions, and mobile sets and electronic items will witness 10% flat rate cuts, GST rate cuts from 28% to 18%. There is a key point to be noted here. Litigation is pervading in this GST regime. To reduce litigation, the government has launched automated approvals in GST registration schemes. It means if you are going to register yourself uh, to pay GST, there will be an automatic approval for you in 3 days. GST appellate tribunal has also been established for quick resolution of disputes. Here, three types of rates are in place in GST regime. The first one is 5%, which is called the merit rate. The second is standard rate, which is 18%, and the third is demerit rate, which is 40%. This kind of GST slab will create a positive atmosphere, and the international investors will also get encouraged. It is hoped that they will get encouraged to invest in India. GST rate cuts should be viewed with one more lens, and that is to boost consumption at a time when engines of growth like exports, private investment, FDI commitments are failing. There should be upsurge in consumption and manufacturing sector. The goods that are produced in India due to high tariffs imposed by USA will get lesser shipments, lesser buyers from those countries. And if the money is not pumped into the pockets of the people of India, these items will not be able to find buyers. That is why it will boost economy in its overall scenario. Here, one thing can be a problem, and the government must try to resolve it at the earliest. Anti-profiteering authority should be revived so that the middlemen cannot stop this benefit from the end consumers. It means there may be people who might not reduce the rates because of the GST rate cuts. That is why anti-profiteering authority to monitor that end consumers are benefited should be uh, revived. These measures are aligned with the Viksit Bharat 2047 goals of the government. Now, I come to one more news item: Environment Audit Rules 2025. Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change has brought out Environment Audit Rules 2025. What are environment audit rules? Just as the finances of the companies and establishments are audited, the contribution of the companies and organizations to creating pollution and putting the environment at risk will also be assessed and audited. Previously, the central pollution control boards were responsible for monitoring all that. They had state level pollution control boards and regional pollution control boards which were monitoring. But a new twist has been introduced in this scenario by Environment Audit Rules 2025. What is the twist? The private players have been brought in. Private auditors have been brought in. It means private agencies can get accredited as auditors. Green credit rules have been proposed and are to be effective soon. Individuals, organizations, credible audits for afforestation, sustainable water management, waste management, among other activities. It means if you are running a company, if you are running a business, you are a manufacturer, you are the owner of an organization, if you are contributing to the environment loss and water wastage, natural resource destruction by your activity, you will be liable to punishment. You will not get benefits from the government, incentives from the government. When you will want green tribunal clearances, they will get delayed. That is why you will have to meet the legal obligations are of sustainable goals, sustainability targets. You have to meet those. And if you have a good credit score, you will get benefits as credit scores ensure in other fields. You will also have benefits of credit scores. Why there is a need of all that? You know, this is a big topic. 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development adopted by all UN members, the members 193 members in 2015 provides a shared blueprint of responsibilities for peace and prosperity of the people and the planet. Global warming and climate change is a modern day reality of the world, and it is putting at risk the other fields which sustain life on the earth. Agriculture, fisheries, marine life are all at risk. And that is why when environment is at risk, oceans are at risk, the atmosphere is at risk, how can the man survive? The need was felt, and in 2015, 17 SDG goals were set. They were urgent calls for action. A global partnership was called upon. UNGA garnered support of all its members and all committed to the 17 SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. There are many. They don't only want to reduce temperature hike and take it back to the pre-industrial level, but they also uh, set a goal for good health and education, reduction of inequalities, and as for economic growth. Green energy production, transition from fossil fuels, and so many goals have been set in SDG, 17 SDGs. Let us have a quick look, a glance at the journey of this. In 1992 Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, Agenda 21 was adopted. In 2000, Member states unanimously adopted Millennium Declaration at the Millennium Summit 2000. The second. The third, in 2002, South Africa, Johannesburg, World Summit on Sustainable Development was held. In 2015-17, SDGs were adopted by UN Sustainable Development Summit in New York in September 2015 in New York. Major agreements on global warming, climate change, environment were adopted in Paris Agreement on climate change. Paris Agreement is itself a major topic to talk about, and I am not going to wade into it at this moment. I will separately make a video on that. Progress reports are prepared annually and even quadrennially. It means every 4 years. They are tabled before UNGA, United Nations General Assembly, and deliberations and discussions are held. Those I want to give you a few SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals here. Name a few. First is SDG wants to end poverty in the world. There should be zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth, among all others. The list is long, and we should not go on mentioning all of them because it will take a lot of time. Now come to the older topic, environment audit rules. You have come to know why environment audit rules are necessary. Why environment itself is necessary, you have come to know. Because the Earth, the planet, and the whole system sustaining life on the globe is at risk. This is a major concern for governments in the world. These audits give green credit score, as I have already told you. And here, this topic comes to an end. Now I have another topic. I wanted to cover it. I have a topic on India-China border. As you know, India and China border falls in the Himalayan region, which is unpopulated. This is the reason why there has been no precision of where the border lies, and it has been a bone of contention between India and China for so many years. From the British era, and on the Chinese side, Manchua Empire, till date, the problem persists. After independence, the border issue should have been resolved, but India was believing firmly that it knew where its border lies. It knew through the British era maps, although it had no actual control on the regions on the ground. You know, this undefined border has attracted so much tension between the two countries, and they have fought war in 1962. And I am going to trace all that developments. Aksai Chin, the northernmost tip of India, a barren high altitude desert, saw the building of a highway from Xinjiang province of China and occupation later on. It means Aksai Chin was occupied by China. What happened in the eastern part of India, in Arunachal Pradesh, we had a city, Tawang, in our territory from Tibet. On the basis of an agreement in 1914, we got Tawang. Tawang is strategically important for the Chinese control over Tibet. Chinese want it at any cost. They want control over Tibet, and Tawang is very important for them for that control. You know, they had Aksai Chin, and we had Tawang. Aksai Chin and Tawang. This situation has escalated many times. The armies have come front to front, in front of each other and confronted many times. There have been various suggestions from Chinese part to define the border. Chinese have also tried to bring India to the table and get the border defined. First suggestion came in 1959. Chinese proposed to accept LAC as the border and move forces 20 kilometers back from it. Chinese told the Indian government to accept LAC as the border, line of actual control, and move their respective forces 20 kilometers away from the border. Okay. In 1960, Zhou Enlai, the former premier, came to New Delhi and proposed a swap where India forgo its claim on Aksai Chin and China concede to India's position in Arunachal Pradesh. India refused. Zhou Enlai, the prime minister, premier of China, came to New Delhi. This was a swap. It was an exchange of territories. You accept your uh, you just forgo your claim, renounce your claim on Aksai Chin, and I renounce our claim in Arunachal Pradesh. India did not like this. Aksai Chin is ours, Arunachal Pradesh is ours. They are both integral part of India. What happened in 1962? When India tried to recapture Aksai Chin, it resulted in India-China war. Chinese withdrew to the areas north of McMahon Line in the east, but in the west they retained parts of Ladakh captured in the war. In this war, we lost a good area of Ladakh to Chinese side. The story came to an end here. Post-war scenario and how the border issue was tried to be solved. In 1975, India constituted a high-level Chinese study group to monitor Sino-Indian border. Chinese study group. They mapped the border through satellite imagery. They established patrolling points and exhorted both the sides, advised both the sides to keep regular patrolling on those areas. Okay. In 1979, Atal Bihari Vajpayee, the foreign minister in Janata Dal government, went to China. He was the first senior most leader to visit China after 1962 war. Vajpayee was a critic, a staunch critic of Nehru's China policy. He tried to normalize relations with both China and Pakistan. China accepted the peace overture so that India might not join Soviet Union camp, which was China's principal antagonist. At that time, China was listening to India properly. It was coaxing India not to go to the Soviet Union camp. And that is why it seemed friendly for Vajpayee and Indian government. Now come to 1980. Then Jiaoping suggested a revival of Zhao proposal in 1960. Zhao, as you know, Zhao Enlai, the premier of China, showed willingness to recognize McMahon line of India, accepted the status quo. It was viewed as trading one chunk of territory for another by New Delhi. The same proposal, which was made in the 1960, that you accept our claim on Aksai Chin and we accept your claim on Arunachal Pradesh, the same. Deng Xiaoping repeated it in 1980. 1983, Chinese went a step further to demand India concede Ladakh, their forces captured in 1960. Ladakh, that part which was captured by the Chinese but later taken over by India, they demanded that in in addition to that swap proposal, earlier swap proposal, this proposal was called LAC plus, and India outrightly rejected this proposal by the Chinese side. Let us have a look at negotiations that have taken place between India and Pakistan and China regarding border issues to resolve border issues. In 1981, Chinese pushed their package deal, and that resulted in a not means it did not fructify. It had no positive effect. In 1984, fifth round of dialogue, and Indians were under an illusion that Chinese were coming around to their view, but they were mistaken. They thought that Chinese were coming around to their view. It means they were accepting their demands and viewing their demands sympathetically. Liu Shiqing, Chinese vice minister, informed the Indian counterpart that India had to make unspecified concessions in the eastern part of Arunachal to pave way for Chinese concessions on Ladakh in the west. Chinese vice minister Liu Xiaoqing, he told India that you have to make concessions in Arunachal Pradesh and then we will pay pave our way for your claims in Ladakh. Otherwise, we will not accept it. They demanded to concede Tawang as part of settlement. As I have already told you, Tawang is very crucial for Chinese to have control over Tibet. Tawang was fundamental for Chinese Tibetan policy. In 1975, Sikkim was incorporated into India. As you know, Sikkim was not part of India, it was an independent kingdom. Before 1950, it was an independent kingdom, but being beset by problems by the Chinese aggressive nature, it asked for help from India and it became a protectorate state. It means India took upon itself the responsibility to protect Sikkim. In internal affairs, Sikkim was autonomous, as all protectorate states are autonomous. But in defense, in the matters of defense and foreign affairs, handled by India itself. These were handled by India from uh, on behalf of Sikkim. In 1983, Indian officials visited Wangdong, the war site of 1962, after a reset in ties. When Indian official visited Wangdong, Wangdong is a very key place. It is the place where India-China war took place. Wangdong was captured by Chinese side. It was occupied by Chinese side. Indian forces started Operation Falcon and established control over an area overlooking Guangdong. It means it was a choking point for the Chinese. They were baffled by this new development. They knew not how to respond to that. And they finally agreed to de-escalate the situation. It established that Indian army was not different from what was now different from what it was in 1962 when it was defeated at the hands of the Chinese army. In 1985, that fear of Soviet Union and the position of the antagonist Soviet Union was eased from the minds of the Chinese. And 1988 normalization with India restarted in 1988. Premier Li Peng proposed to forget the unpleasant past. He invited uh, Rajiv Gandhi, and he told him that both sides should forget the unpleasant past and start anew. There should be a reasonable and mutually acceptable resolution to the question of the border. Uh, our Prime Minister, Mr. Rajiv Gandhi, accepted this. And now the history of that has come to an end. Thank you very much. Goodbye.